Well, greetings and welcome to another episode of A Mississippi Minute. Today is Sunday, January 13th, and I'm here with my boat right beside the Mississippi River. Now, it's been raining a lot for the last week or so, and the last day and a half it's rained quite a bit. When I got here yesterday at about 4 o'clock, the boat where it is now, well, let's say the water line is not where it was yesterday. The water's come up almost 20 feet this way anyways, not this way. And this boat here was about 30 feet from the water line. I pulled it well up and tied it to a tree, as you can see here. But today, thanks to all this crazy rain the last couple days, it's come up a lot. So that's giving me some concern, but I've got a lot of room here to pull the boat up too. I'm just in this floodplain, which is deserted except for me at the moment. But I'm really surprised by this. This is a great example of how much the river can come up in less than 12 hours. It's now about 11 a.m. on Sunday. I decided not to paddle for at least the first half of the day because it was just a torrential downpour this morning, and it had rained all night as well, and it had rained all day yesterday, and it was very foggy yesterday, thick fog yesterday. And the interesting thing about that was because it was so foggy, there were no barges running whatsoever. I didn't see any barges running on the river until I got to this area, and there was a couple towboats. But this particular area here, you won't be able to see it, but you can see a barge just out here and another one passing here. There are well over 30 separate barges, and each one of those barges is set up with a set of barges, and it just runs for probably 6 miles along this stretch. It's crazy. So I was going around that at first in the fog, but then thanks to some warm air that came in, it blew the fog off, so which was kind of nice, and then it just started raining right after that. But before that, I had been dodging stuff like this in this thick fog. I couldn't even see like 100 feet in front of me, and I would come up on these towboats and just maybe see a light, or I could hear them for probably half a mile as I was approaching them, but I couldn't tell how close I was to them. And I'd get right up behind them, literally within 100 feet, and then realize that I had to go to the left to get around it. Couldn't see anything until that point. Sometimes I would see a light and it looked like it would be connected to something else, but it was actually part of the boat. And then start to get the wash from the back of the boat. Craziness. I did that maybe 6 or 7 times yesterday, and it was really scary. It was very dangerous paddling in fog like that on a big river. Now this section here, the water is moving extremely fast. It's a huge bend here, and just beyond this towboat, the water is actually very loud, and a series of wave trains out there. It's pretty amazing. It's almost like being on almost like a whitewater river or something, because it's so noisy and it's moving so fast. I paddled about half an hour of that at the end of yesterday, and I was just fatigued as it was, and then had to paddle this half an hour of wave trains. It was crazy. And then finally, when I got to this little area here, which is actually at the end of an island, there's a channel right here that flows back up and around this huge island here. I decided to get out of the wave trains and paddle into this little inlet, little bay here, and make camp. It was easy to access the shoreline, or the bank, the river bank, and it looked flat up here, so it looked like a good place to pitch a tent. I hadn't seen very much of that. On the other side, there's lots of sandbars and stuff over there, but because it was so foggy, I didn't want to cross the river. So now these barges, some of which were very close to the bank, are now quite a ways out from the bank, because so much water has come down from the Ohio, and because of the rain as well over the last week. So, want to see how much it rained last night? I've got a little thing right here that you can test and see how much rain there is. It's called a cockpit on a boat. That's a lot of rain. Plan now is to just kind of stay put for a bit. I think I might get out and paddle today. The rain has stopped. It's cold now though, with a cool wind too. So there's a little town just down here, maybe just 3 miles down the river. It's a little hard to access from the river, although there must be a ramp or something there. Thinking about maybe getting some water. Although there's lots of water in my boat, I can't drink it. Although it is rainwater. I don't have a filter with me anyways. But would like to top up what I have for water. There's also another town called Hickman, which is maybe 15 or 20 miles downstream from here. I've been there before, and I know where I can get water there at a gas station, close to the boat ramp. So I was thinking maybe make my way down there today while there's a break in the weather. Obviously there's a good flow. Getting out into it, staying in it. I've got a lot of barge traffic here because they've got parked barges, like I was saying, for like 6 miles down here. So I think that may have something to do with the river closure at Thebes, which is upstream from here, quite a ways upstream. Where they're doing all the blasting, so they've got a time when they could put their barges through because they can only go through at night. So this might have something to do with that. It might also have something to do with barges that are going up the Ohio River as well, or have come down the Ohio River and then are parked here and then being switched off, or whatever they do with them, and come out and move them to another part of the Mississippi. Having said that, it's probably best that I try and make some mileage today, but it's very tempting to get back in the sleeping bag and just be warm and dry. All of my paddling clothes are just soaked from yesterday. Just got drenched yesterday. Even with the Gore-Tex suit on, it's still, you know, the Gore-Tex can only do so much. So a lot of it's perspiration inside the suit as well. So putting that stuff on in the morning is never fun. Putting on wet, cold clothes, and they'll be wet now. I mean, they didn't dry out at all last night. They didn't, you know, warm up at all last night. So I actually had a couple of layers that I had on under this, and pants that I had on were wet as well. Luckily, they've dried out just from being in a sleep bag and whatnot. Yeah. Kind of a dismal day. Yesterday was pretty drab as well. Haven't seen the sun in a couple days. This is as light as it's been in a couple days. This area here is just all mud. It's all floodplain, so it's just mud covered in leaves and debris, tree debris. Some garbage, plastic that's just inevitable. Bottles and cans that float up, and see those everywhere. Yeah, this is the Mississippi in January. Not a leaf on a tree and hardly any green in sight. A little bit of grass, a little bit of weeds poking up thanks to the warm weather the last little bit. And there's been quite a few insects, spiders, a lot of spiders in this area. And nothing dangerous, of course. And a lot of small flies, and I even saw a mosquito yesterday. I hadn't seen one of those in a long time, so it's a bit of a promise. Kind of like seeing a mosquito, knowing that they're out there, knowing that the weather is warm enough for them to live, which is good. Hopefully it keeps up. Today it feels like it's in the 40s, maybe 50 degrees, but with that wind it's kind of cool. I'm not wearing any down, just fleece right now, which is kind of nice. But this is it. Looking at maybe getting back on the river for a few hours today. Maybe paddle half a day and get down the river and find a good place to camp. So that's going to do it for this episode of A Missouri Minute. Choo!